The Chris Tyson situation could become a complete disaster for Mr. Beast's brand. What?
It may also provide some unique benefits. So let's begin by going over the drama before explaining exactly how
that
this
dude
will
wearing a
impact
tank
the
top?
Mr. Beast channel. In mid-2022, fans began to notice that Chris Tyson was changing. In the early days, he represented the quintessential southern gun and truck-loving dude. Yet beginning in March 2022, Chris began to display increasingly feminine traits, making tweets such as, "I finally got my nails done at a nail tech." Additionally, Chris would highlight that his
hold on. I remember I went to go get cause as a guy I want to keep my hands looking at least nice. I went to go get my nails done. I guess you could say that. That sounds crazy. But I went to go get them done. And the shorty asked me what color. I'm like, I said clear. She brings out pink. Hello? And she starts laughing at me because I'm like, no. And you know, she's Chinese, so I didn't know how to convey my without being rude. I was like, nah, I just want clear. She was like, no, pink. I was like, clear. And then she started laughing in my face and said, I know. And then she went to go. Bro, I was actually kind of hot. I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of heated. I was like, why would you put me through that? But then I was like, okay, it was a little bit funny. I ain't gonna lie, looking back, it was a little bit funny. I was shook, bro.
Nail tech. Additionally, Chris would highlight that his facial appearance had changed significantly since the start of the pandemic.
It was like he lost weight and shaved.
Okay, so in 4 different customs, I had to prove I was myself because I, quote, look nothing like my passport pic, so much that I'm considering updating my passport. Do you see any resemblance? Prompting replies such as, you went from man to boy. Chris responded by stating, nah, to be honest, I just really started taking my mental health seriously and eating better. Yet his Twitter photos kept insinuating that Chris was becoming more feminine, with the same kind of look showing up in his Mr. Beast appearances. For example, on the 6th of January 2023, Beast Reacts uploaded a video titled I Strapped a GoPro to a Fish, in which Chris dressed in a way that prompted comments such as, Chris has been adopting more and more traits that remind me of my grandmother. Okay, so some people just gonna ignore Chris's nails. Chris had to have lost a bet. The look is getting
I ain't gonna lie, yeah, that sweater is low-key crazy.
Prompted countless viral
Hold on,
TikToks,
it could be,
such as this
I
one
gotta
with
see the full fit.
700,000 likes, stating how did Chris go from this to this, while others even made the
I ain't
claim
gonna lie,
that
the
Carl had
sharpness
turned
is
him
crazy.
gay. Now, this was pretty ridiculous.
Those are like
Carl
stiletto
isn't even
nails,
that
right?
feminine, and Chris had come out as bisexual years before he
he's
and Carl
bi.
had even met. The true catalyst for Chris Tyson's feminization instead seemed to
He
have
had
come
a
from his
wife?
marriage. In January 2022, Chris would post a photo with his wife to his Instagram, yet after this, the family photo stopped
And he had a
altogether.
jit too.
Fans also noticed that he'd removed his wedding ring, with the ring's absence correlating perfectly with the very first post in which he'd painted his nails. Chris confirmed the split in a post from March 2023 reading, for a little over a year now, me and Katie have been separated, with this also confirming that Chris's transformation began as soon as his marriage came to an end. Chris went from lighting campfires and raising a family with his beautiful wife to now trying to be a wife.
Hey, so you call him his nails being painted is a transformation? Like he's gonna become a...
Chris went from lighting campfires and raising a family with his beautiful wife to now trying to be a wife with his man buns and long nails. As the criticism continued to pile, Chris announced that he'd be taking a break from social media. And while there was a possibility that Chris would make efforts to return to his former self, he'd rather do the opposite and double down on his feminine image, showing up to the Kids' Choice Awards looking like this before making the announcement that he'd been doing HRT for approximately 2 months, which according to a quick Google search is the medical process for changing genders. Chris would expand on this by stating, informed consent HRT saved my and many others' lives. The hurdles GNC people have to jump through to get life-saving gender-affirming healthcare in a first world country is wild to me. Just let people make informed decisions about their own bodies, which received a positive response from both Carl and Mr. Beast, who wrote, "Got you, I did one more heart than Carl because I'm a better friend." While his co-workers expressed positivity, others weren't so welcoming. There goes a father figure the kid won't ever be able to look up to. Hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. Weak man times.
Damn! I ain't gonna lie, what did this gotta do with, like, there goes a father figure the kid won't ever be able to look up to? What? Why can't the mom just, like, marry a dude? There's a stepfather. Now the jit got 2 moms and a dad, like, what? Hard times create strong men. Nigga, what did this quote? Like, bro, people are acting like men don't still exist. Bro, there are good, hard, strong men out there. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to say, I see what Life with Evan dude is trying to say. Now, the kid's gonna look at what he thought was his dad, who's now actually his new mom or his same mom. It's gonna be very confusing for the kid. It's gonna confuse the kid quite a bit. If you wanna live your life and be happy, sometimes you gotta make some tough decisions. Not everybody gonna be happy. I don't know why. Why does Life with Evan care so much though? Is it his kid? Society has made it a habit for us to worry about the past of people. Interesting. Continuing.
Times create weak men.
I don't think anything I said made sense. I ain't gonna lie.
Hard times create strong men create good times.
The fact that he tweeted this though is crazy.
Weak men create hard times. Weak man
12.6
Chris responded to this comment by stating, "This is just more dog whistling that somehow trans and GNC folks aren't safe around kids. Tucker begs for me to come back when I leave for like 2 days to film. He is so loved and happy. Kids aren't born with hate, it's taught by people like you, and my child will only know love. I know I'm going to be a great parent, and so is every other person who puts the love of their child before everything. I made this decision because I wanted to show up as my best and happiest self for him. In a way, this was for Tucker." Chris's response received some positivity such as, "I'm convinced you're an amazing father. Tucker is lucky to have you and also lucky to have all of those who surround and support you in his life, as well as I adore that. I'm glad you made that decision. It's so much easier to be a parental figure when you're not struggling with dysphoria,
that is true.
Yet he'd also receive an equal amount of backlash. You ripped apart your family and took a father figure away from your son just so you could paint your nails and act zesty. Pathetic. He will get torn apart at school, won't want to have friends around his house. A life full of difference and being alone.
That is
Must have missed
true.
the point in that tweet. How's this for him when you're depriving him of a father figure?" Although Chris wasn't altered by these comments, as he'd once again reiterate his certainty in a new post reading, "It's never too late to start being yourself," which received praise from Mr. Beast as well as Nolan and Carl. However, these comments also added extra fuel to the fire. In a few years, look back at this thread and remember they were never your friends. Only yes men cowards. Hope you come out of this safe. Mr. Beast responded to this with a simple opinion irrelevant ratio, to which the original commenter would state, "I have 30 followers, so go ahead and ratio me. I'll still rest easy knowing that I'm not a coward who idly sits by watching my friend ruin his own life." In some ways, it was nice to see the boys standing up for Chris on Twitter. However, the situation has already begun to change the dynamic within the videos. For example, in a recent live stream titled "Opening 1,000 Mystery Art Boxes," Chris would once again dress in quite a feminine way, and while everybody participated as usual, the energy and vibe didn't feel nearly as smooth as it normally does. It felt as though there was an unaddressed elephant in the room, and therefore everybody was in their head, as opposed to being in the present moment enjoying each other's company. Maybe everybody was simply too busy opening packages, but Chris did make these bizarre jokes about Jimmy being female, making him incredibly uncomfortable.
"Oh my god, Jimmy, look, they drew you. Jimmy, they drew you so well. It looks just like you."
Oh, yes.
Oh my god, it's Jimmy.
How did fan art? This is what we were looking for. Be brave, be honest, be kind. Mr. Beast. That is my tagline.
Becoming even weirder when each member started to pay each other compliments.
"Hey, nice shirt." "Thanks, dude. Nice shirt."
Hey, nice shirt.
"Thanks, dude. Nice shirt."
Thanks. Nice shirt.
"Nice shoes."
For the most part, the live stream was devoid of all.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, that was a little bit awkward, cuz. Why are they like this?
"Thanks, dude. Nice shirt."
Hey, nice shirt.
"Thanks, dude. Nice shirt."
Thanks. Nice shirt.
"Nice shoes."
For the most part, the live stream was devoid of awkward moments. However, it would act as fodder for another 100 million views worth of drama and criticism.
So they
Chris likely
clipped
believes
this.
that people will slowly adapt to his new appearance over time, but is this really going to happen? Well, maybe. It's difficult to say as the situation is fairly unique, especially when considering Chris's reputation and influence. However, if Chris continues to transition, would it be unreasonable to say that he could jeopardize some of the personality traits which made him a successful member in the first place? Perhaps the opposite will happen, and he'll instead pick up new personality traits that better resonate with the current MrBeast audience. This was put forward in many comments supportive of Chris, who implied that there'll be millions of queer kids who look up to him, although this doesn't necessily mean that it'll add any value.
Yo, is that word okay to say now? Is queer okay to say?
All of whom are already watching anyway, and if we've learned anything from Hollywood in recent years, it's that adding over-the-top LGBT characters for the sake of relatability rarely works as intended, and is often nothing more than a distraction from the premise of the movie or video. On top of this, it can be uncomfortable and unrelatable for the silent majority, although as we have seen, a situation like Chris's does have the potential to create an otherworldly amount of discussion, which could be seen as a benefit for the MrBeast brand.
True, very true.
100%. That would be an easy way to up my
So
views
you're
if
a
I got it,
Keemstar
bro.
The problem is this type of situation is probably the last thing that MrBeast wants to attract, as he's forced to agree with Chris's position, as he has no way of manipulating the situation without being painted as the bad guy. It's a lose-lose
really
situation
stuck.
for MrBeast. I think Jimmy is in an inescapable situation. If he kicks out Chris, cancelled. If he don't, his channel will die for real. An inescapable situation is a pretty good way of describing the drama, which is also why it deserves the harsh label of being a nightmare. Jimmy has no option but to publicly express acceptance of Chris's transition, as silence or even worse, disapproval would come with obvious severe repercussions. However,
but if, okay, my thing is, if MrBeast is, but that would make him transphobic though, if he's uncomfortable with Chris now. Wouldn't that? I don't know how, what is transphobic like? Because if he's uncomfortable but he doesn't hate, transphobic. Oh, okay. Having or showing a dislike of or strong prejudice. So if he's uncomfortable, I don't know, because I feel like, because MrBeast runs a business, so if he's uncomfortable with the image that Chris is like presenting, then as a business owner, he should be able to do with what he wants with his, he should be able to do whatever he wants with his business. But at the same time, they are friends. So I feel like that's a faulty line of thinking, because then now I'm saying that because of their change, they're losing a job. I feel like that's messed up though. Like, I can't say like, why should people care about other people's business when it's, but I'm running a business though. That's my thing. Like, there has to be, but it shouldn't matter even in the business. That's what they're fighting for, I believe. I don't know, bro. This runs a little bit deeper than just business. Not only that, but MrBeast does have an image that he likes to uphold. Damn, this is a conundrum, cuh. I ain't gonna lie to you, this man is stuck.
However, in accepting Chris's transition, Jimmy implies that this will be the new normal within the content, thus annoying a different group of people, many of whom will never express their true feelings and may rather simply click on fewer MrBeast videos. If this is the case, Jimmy has no option but to accept this fate, as removing Chris from the videos in any kind of way could create an even more severe media firestorm. The only clean solution, should things go south, might be for Chris to resign himself, and even then rumors and bad press will be unavoidable. Whether it be arrogance or ignorance, Chris seems oblivious to how this whole thing might impact Jimmy,
he gotta
that he
know,
achieved
bro.
his current level of success by avoiding this exact type of drama.
Wait. Jackie Chan, his son, I didn't even know Jackie Chan had a son.
Jackie Chan's only son hasn't had the easiest life. Between an unsuccessful film career and the time he spent in prison, JC Chan has been unable to live up to the high standards set by his father.
What did he go to prison for?
With JC's luxury
did he karate chop
somebody in 1982. At this point in time, Jackie Chan was permanently busy with acting and would therefore spend only 2 weeks per year with his son, which was, quote, contained in the household as they were too famous to go outside. His father's busy schedule meant that JC was raised almost entirely by his mother, who began to spoil him with luxuries afforded by Jackie Chan's fame and fortune. Jackie wrote in his memoir, when he was little, JC never had to worry about having enough food, how to pay his school fees, or if he needed to be driven anywhere. I would arrange it all. I regretted that later. No one should have such a good life from their birth.
That's a fact.
Jackie Chan clearly believed this, as his upbringing
you need to walk places.
Opposite. Brought up in dirt poor conditions by refugee parents who couldn't even afford to pay for his birth, Jackie Chan was forced to develop discipline as well as
so how was he born?
Who couldn't even afford to pay for his birth, Jackie Chan was forced to develop discipline as well as an appreciation for scarcity. In addition to this, Jackie Chan's youth consisted of drama training all day long, from 5 AM to 11 PM with breaks for lunch and dinner. When he misbehaved, he was beaten with canes. When he fell ill, he was told to suck it up, which Jackie Chan has since highlighted as beneficial in comparison to his son's upbringing.
I really thank you, my teacher, that tortured me, becoming really, we never drop one rice on the table. Whenever I go back my home, I see my son's shoes, one like this, one like this.
I ain't gonna lie.
Not the socks. No discipline.
Yeah, my mom would beat this led Jackie Chan to write in his
book, I just threw my shoes, boy.
I definitely didn't think JC was pushing himself hard enough. I'd work all day, go jogging at night, then get back and see that he'd gone to bed, even though it was only 9-something. I'd grumble, he's asleep already. I'd storm out in a bad mood and go jogging again, thinking when I was his age, I wished he could follow me around all day to see how much I did.
I'm like, you getting old, Jackie Chan.
Right up until midnight, then I'll go home, do some exercise and read
When I was his age,
JC's clear lack of drive and ambition in comparison to his father.
Wait, so he'd go jogging twice, bro?
Scripts. JC's clear lack of drive and ambition in comparison to his father led JC to drop out of college at the end of his first year, stating, I wanted to be a musician. All you can see in Virginia is sheep, although other sources state that he was expelled from the school as a result of excessive drinking, unclean living conditions, and 2 semesters worth of unwarranted absences.
Damn.
JC's desire to become a musician was against the will of Jackie, who had not wished to see their son in show business. He wanted JC to be a lawyer, an engineer, or a doctor, as JC's mother had, quote, already lost her husband to this profession. Despite the wishes of his parents, JC moved from Los Angeles to Hong Kong in 2004, where he planned on cultivating his own successful story in music, stating, "It is my hope to become famous based on my own abilities, rather than rely on my image." JC was so confident in moving to China that he gave up his American nationality in exchange for Chinese nationality. However, it's possible that this choice came into question after he'd released his first album. Described in reviews as being a horrid absolute waste of money, the album simply titled JC was a commercial failure. The reason for this, as
Hold on.
不再给你让它等待，放弃，我已慢慢把你放弃，一切我已慢慢失去感觉，若无其事我就想，若无其事我就想，若无其事。其实我曾想过，是否我们相处时间如果多了些错，有时害怕结果，最后难过过不过寂寞，没结果的结果，对我来说，就算寂寞也算解脱，也算解脱。
Nah, I ain't gonna lie, bro. This is kind of hard. Hold on. Nigga music is not that bad, bro.
By JC himself was because Hong Kong is different from other places. You need to do music and movies, leading JC to appear in his first film titled The Twins Effect 2, which received an IMDb rating of less than 5 out of 10 stars. And while it'd be ridiculous to expect an Avengers-level performance from JC's first on-screen appearance, the movies which followed weren't that much better. He'd appear alongside his father for Jackie Chan's 100th movie titled 1911 Revolution, yet the collaboration resulted in Jackie Chan's least financially successful and least positively received picture to date, grossing only $127,000 before receiving a score of 8% on Rotten Tomatoes. 1 year later, JC would play the main character in a movie called Double Trouble, which also entered media headlines after grossing an even more pitiful $9,000 during its first 2 weeks, making it one of the biggest box office flops in history. To add insult to injury, JC would then play the main role in a movie called Whoever, which despite a government mandate forcing it to be played in half of the country's cinemas, failed to crack the Chinese top 10.
Wait, hold on. A government mandate to be shown? What? That's allowed?
To injury, JC would then play the main role in a movie called Whoever, which despite a government mandate forcing it to be played in half of the country's cinemas, failed to crack the Chinese top 10 and has received only 15 ratings on IMDb since its release in 2012.
Damn.
The only positive news for JC seemed to have been coming from his music career, as his second studio album would top Taiwanese charts in 2010, although it seems the album hasn't achieved much long-term success, as there's not even a single online review for the music, and it took about 30 minutes of digging just to find the track list. The performance of the album was unimportant anyway, because on the 14th of August 2014, JC would find himself in a profound new media scandal, making every prior controversy seem insignificant.
What?
Police would upload footage of JC Chan being arrested at his parents' $10 million luxury Beijing apartment, during which he'd admit to having approximately 100 grams of weed in his cupboard. This was extra bad for the Chan family's reputation, as Jackie Chan had been China's official anti-drug ambassador since 2009. For this reason, Jackie Chan would take to social media to apologize, writing, "For my son JC to get into such trouble, I'm very angry and astonished. As a public figure, I'm ashamed. As a father, I'm heartbroken. I can't begin to describe his mother's pain. I failed to be a good father and I deserve the blame. I will take the responsibility and apologize to the public on behalf of JC." In the process, Jackie
Chan is such a W, like, dude, bro. If I ain't gonna lie, JC, like, I understand he trying to get out under his dad's, like, shadows, bro. But at the same time, like, he gotta understand his dad has literally sacrificed so much to be able to give JC the type of lifestyle that he has now, bro.
Take the responsibility and apologize to the public on behalf of JC. In the process, Jackie practically disowned his son, stating that he hadn't and didn't plan on using any of his connections to lessen JC's
disowning
sentence.
is harsh.
I've not visited him even till now. I did not even use any connections to call anyone. If JC only went in jail for 1 week or 10 days, how would the public look at us? We are public figures, and all the more we have to abide by the laws, which was accompanied by Jackie Chan somewhat hilariously telling JC's lawyer to slap him twice for me. While Jackie Chan wanted absolutely nothing to do with JC, the Chinese government took the opposite approach, making a public anti-drug example out of JC by televising the trial, which would happen approximately 4 months after his arrest. JC was sentenced to 6 months in prison and was ordered to pay a $320 fine for possession as well as the crime of sheltering others to take drugs. JC took this sentence humbly, stating, "I have broken the law and should be punished. When I return to society, I will not repeat this because I have let my family and friends down yet again, although this wasn't enough to satisfy his parents, who didn't even attend the trial." Whilst in prison, JC would send letters to his mother in which he explained that he experimented with drugs because of the bad crowd he was mixing with, and started relying on drugs to soothe himself whenever he felt upset.
That's how it starts.
JC also wrote about the struggles he faced growing up in a famous family, and revealed that the expectations of fame placed a lot of pressure on him. He then expressed his unhappiness with Jackie for not showing him enough concern. However, his father wasn't rushing to offer any kind of sympathy. Jackie Chan would...
To be fair though, the points he bring up are legit. Like I could see why one could be pushed to do that. I ain't gonna lie to you. So it's good that he's not only taking responsibility for his mistakes, but he has a clear, concise reason as to why. It's not like, I don't know. But that means he's thought about it and he's realized that, like, that's not a good line of thinking. That's, yeah. I mean, that's showing remorse, I ain't gonna lie.
Concern. However, his father wasn't rushing to offer any kind of sympathy. Jackie Chan would state in an interview, "I hope to be an anti-drug ambassador for life. I even hope that after JC is out, he can be an anti-drug ambassador too, telling everyone to stay away from drugs," which was followed by Jackie stating publicly that he supports the death penalty for certain serious offenses. Additionally, Jackie Chan would announce that he would donate the the entirety of his reported $350 million net worth to charity and not pass it on to his son JC, adding, if he is capable, he can make his own money. If he is not, then he will just be wasting my money. The problem is JC's earning capacity has been stifled pretty severely.
I mean, it is his money. But it's like, bro,
3 years prior to his arrest,
you ain't gonna share some of that with your shit, though?
Movies. However, since his imprisonment almost 10 years ago, he's appeared in only 3 films, one of which he wasn't even credited for as a result of the scandal.
Damn.
JC also lost endorsements from Adidas, Nivea, Yishion, Johnson & Johnson contact lenses, Stride Gum, KFC, and Chevrolet, with this rock bottom causing him to return to America, even though he was no longer a citizen there. The father and son still share a residence in Hong Kong, though they don't spend much time together. As an actor, a businessman, and his city's unofficial goodwill ambassador at large, Jackie Chan has a busy schedule.
Understandable.
The two seem to
He
have
is
reconciled
Jackie Chan,
since
I ain't
JC
gonna
moved
lie.
back to the USA, yet JC continues to differ himself, stating, I don't want to always follow my dad's footsteps. I want to be different.
That's a
adding that he's
fact.
tired of being a person in his father's shadow.
I understand
Since
that.
moving
I
back
understand
to the
that.
US,
For real.
JC has made efforts to turn his life around, directing his first film in 2021 titled Goodnight Beijing, and according to IMDb, he has another 2 movies on the way.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Do y'all remember James Gordon, bro?
Slowly developed one of the worst
How did James Gordon destroy his reputation?
James Gordon has slowly developed one of the worst reputations in media history, and the foundation for his decline began when people started to realize that James Corden was a completely different person when he wasn't on camera. As an actor and the main host of The Late Late Show, James presents as a happy, polite, easygoing comedian whose goal is to simply make the audience laugh. Although there's a mountain of evidence showing that in his private life he's the exact opposite to this, with his rude nature developing after he first became famous back in 2008. As a result of his excellent performance on a British TV show called Gavin and Stacey, James would win the British equivalent of an Oscar, although accompanying this award was an ego boost that began to get out of control.
You can start to think you're perhaps a bit more of a dude than you really are, and that very much happened to me. You know, I had a swagger in my walk.
As mentioned, James Corden's sudden explosion into fame led him to believe that he was more of a dude than he really was, which would eventually translate into him treating everyone around him like garbage. James explained that as 2008 wore on, it got so bad I was being rude to my agent, and I even started being rude to Ruth. If I was in company and the conversation wasn't revolving around me, I would just switch.
Okay. Let's say this. This might be a hot take. I don't know if this is a negative hot take. This might be a hot take. I believe fame makes you a true interpretation of who you actually are at heart. Now, I could be wrong. But he might have been like this before fame really touched him. I ain't gonna lie. Because a lot of niggas think they this shit before shit even starts smelling them. You feel me?
Being rude to Ruth. If I was in company and the conversation wasn't revolving around me, I would just switch off. In addition to being rude to everyone around him, Corden began to live a typically irresponsible, newly famous lifestyle.
I'd started going out quite a lot. This door had opened to this world that I thought looked like fun, where people go, you're amazing, you're great, can I have a photo? Do you want a drink? Come out with us. And so you just end...
Bro, so you turn into a kid? What? What? They literally want to talk to you because they think you're somebody important, bro. Why would you be mean to that person? Like, what? That makes no sense.
You're amazing, you're great, can I have a photo? Do you want a drink? Come out with us. And so you just end up on this path of just 3 a.m. cab rides with people you don't know, heading across London to someone's house who you don't know either, with a group of people who think it's amazing that you're there. This is an intoxicating thing to be part of.
All of which being
3 a.m.? Nigga, I'm in my bed, bro. What are you talking about? With people I don't know, to houses I don't know. No. Maybe it's because I'm boring and lame. Maybe it's really because I've been shot at. You feel me? I'm not going to nobody's house at 3 a.m., bro. What the hell? No.
Heading across London to someone's house who you don't know either, with a group of people who think it's amazing that you're there. This is an intoxicating thing to be part of.
All of which being noticed by another Gavin and Stacey actor, Rob Brydon, who explained that when he first met James Corden 6 years prior, he was very impressed by him, yet after winning the Oscar award, James Corden was on a roller coaster. This boy from High Wycombe, and he's suddenly enjoying the fruits of his success, and he just lost his way for a bit. He was burning the candle at both ends and becoming ratty and irritable. James Corden claimed that his streak of irresponsibility came to an end after attending 18 months of therapy, although even after this, there were still countless examples of him treating people like garbage. For example, James Corden stated in a BBC4 interview that he needed to bully his way to the top of the media world, which can be observed in certain events such as the time he'd get into a public argument with another incredibly respected actor Patrick Stewart whilst on stage.
When the presenters are up here and when the recipients are receiving their awards, don't stand at the back of the stage with your hands in your pockets, looking around as though you wished you were anywhere but here.
Oh, you couldn't be more wrong, sir. And if it looked like that, I'm so sorry. But when you come up and present an award, just get on with it.
After Patrick Stewart would confront James about looking disinterested during the presentation, the argument would escalate in front of everyone.
Sorry, I'm waiting for the punchline. Go on. No, seriously, go on.
Okay.
No, go on. You can see my belly, and we can all see you dying right now. Let's go for it. Here we go.
Which was concluded by James and Patrick bickering in the background while someone else was talking on the microphone. Now, to cut James some slack, Patrick Stewart was probably in the wrong here, considering he was the person who began the argument. Interestingly, after James Corden gave him a very favourable introduction.
What was really confusing about it was I gave him like a massive intro.
Yeah, I know.
I said, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome an actor who's held in such high esteem. Please welcome the brilliant Sir Patrick Stewart. And then he came up and did that.
Although
isn't that the dude from X-Men?
Back with a few jabs of his own, so it's safe to say that he also had some degree
Is
of
that Magneto?
There are other examples of similar situations where James has acted rudely, however, only after being provoked by someone else first. Countless paparazzi videos show James walking through Los Angeles looking quite angry and disinterested, although having a camera involuntarily shoved into your face probably doesn't facilitate the best environment for a good mood.
True.
There was also the time when Ant and Dec played a prank on James Corden, attempting to make him late for work, although considering they were literally going out of their way to make him angry, James probably gets another pass here. However, when James Corden would post one of the most brutal Reddit Ask Me Anythings in internet history, 3 fan interactions were highlighted, which James had absolutely no excuse for. Hey James, you won't remember me, but me and my friend sat at a table next to you and Harry Styles plus some others in Manchurian Legends in London's Chinatown about 6 years ago. We didn't bother you, but you were a massively entitled dick
in a chubby way like a boozy panda.
the wait staff like shit, and when one of my party politely suggested you calm down, you got really aggressive and threatening. So my question is this: why did Harry seem so cool while you were such a massive throbbing bellend? This post was followed by another thread. I went to a James Corden live recording a while back. He had nearly zero interaction with the audience before/after the show and was on his phone entirely during commercial breaks. I guess that's his prerogative. He may have been having a bad day. I also realize it must be difficult to be on all the time, but I remember being extremely disappointed. By comparison, I've been to a Jimmy Fallon recording and a Letterman recording, and I can say with full conviction that those guys really seemed like they cared about their audience and worked their hardest to entertain them, even while the cameras weren't recording, which was followed by one final anecdote reading,
I like Jimmy Fallon
in person.
Damn!
I saw a league of their own filming live, through multiple tantrums over minor things at the production staff, with him being incredibly rude to them, which made the other regulars seem very awkward like it was usual. Between each take, the other celebs would be chatting amongst themselves, bantering about. James was glued to his phone. At the end of the filming, people got up to go get pictures with James, and he massively kicked off shouting at people to go away and go back to their seats, and the few he did let have pictures with, he was moody as. Seeing him like that made me realize everything you see of his on TV is a complete persona.
Damn.
Continuing on through the AMA, it becomes pretty obvious as to why James Corden only answered 3 different questions before calling it quits. Why are you, James, such a deeply unpleasant person? Did your parents raise you that way? Have you ever considered being funny or likable? James, are you aware that everyone thinks you're a hack and a talentless asshat? With his third comment here relating to the next reason behind James Corden's decline. Many of his on-screen performances have simply been terrible. A petition requesting that James Corden not be cast in Wicked the movie gained close to 110,000 signatures.
I ain't never seen the man act.
Like, James Corden would be hosting the TV show's 15-year reunion. He'd received Twitter responses such as, "Don't get me wrong, I've been wanting a Friends reunion since 2004, but if someone told me James Corden would be in it, I'd have told them not to bother." James Corden adding the Friends reunion to the list of things he's ruined with his mere presence. Additionally, after starring as the main character in the 2019 film Cats, the movie received a rating on IMDb IMDb, as well as reviews so awful that James Corden didn't even end up watching the movie himself. However, James stating that he didn't watch the movie wasn't the only thing that was interesting about this interview, as he'd also discussed another topic which had turned much of his audience against him: his beef with another talk show host, Bill Maher. In September of 2019, Bill Maher published an editorial about obesity, with the contents of such being discussed on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Look, you can't keep eating as much as you want and as shitty a food as you want. You just can't.
That's a fact.
Not something that anybody wants to hear, though.
People loved it until James Corden said something.
As mentioned, James Corden wasn't too happy with these comments and would call Bill Maher out by making both some reasonable arguments.
If making fun of fat people made them lose weight, there'd be no fat kids in schools and I'd have a six-pack by now.
As well as some awful ones, such as a zero personal responsibility statement that Bill Maher was simply...
What? No, fat people should not be made fun of. No. You shouldn't make fun of anybody. However, we shouldn't enable people to literally hurt themselves. Being fat is not healthy. Like, it's not good for the body. We should not be enabling people to be fat. You know what I'm saying? We should be working with them to reduce their weight, not because we think that they look bad, but because it's not healthy. It's literally just not healthy. Like, like what more? You're gonna die. Like, just work out some. That's it.
Calories than him.
We're not all as lucky as Bill Maher, you know? We don't all have a sense of superiority that burns 35,000 calories a day.
Which Bill interpreted as the easy, low-risk way out of the argument.
He missed a great opportunity to literally save lives. He took the easy way out. Of course, you can always get applause for saying, oh, let's boo the mean man who's told the truth. That's not brave.
As is usually the case with these kinds of topics, there were supporters for both sides of the argument.
Bill Maher
James
spitting facts.
Unnecessarily forcing himself into such a divisive conversation where people already disagree with him was probably a net negative toward his reputation, just like the time his carpool karaoke was outed for being fake. The segment during which James Corden drives around singing songs with various famous musicians was called out by a user on Twitter in early 2020 after they noticed Justin Bieber and James Corden in a car, which wasn't being driven but rather being pulled.
He don't drive
the video
it.
would rack up over 14 million views, which prompted an incredibly hilarious response from James Corden himself, in which he would go ahead and debunk the claim that the series had been faked.
95% of the time, I really am endangering the lives of the world's biggest pop stars. Here is a list of every carpool karaoke where I've used a tow, and this is a list of every one where I was driving the car, okay?
However, while Corden did a pretty good job of debunking these claims, there are still countless comments on every carpool karaoke from people who never saw the debunk calling the videos fake. This all feels so fake when you know he's not actually driving. Fake news, James isn't actually driving. James Corden, stop cheating people with your carpool karaoke. Can't believe all these celebrities put up with this fake show. Next time at least drive the damn car. It seems like even when James Corden is in the right, his audience selectively decides that he's still in the wrong, which has also been speculated as part of the reason behind his recent announcement that he's leaving the public spotlight. On the 29th of April 2022, James Corden would upload a video to his YouTube channel titled James Corden Discusses His Late Night Future, in which he'd announced that he'd only be hosting the show for one more year.
I've decided to sign for one more year on the show, and that this will be my last year hosting the Late Late Show.
In a different interview, James Corden specified that his motive for leaving the entertainment industry was to spend more time with his family.
I don't want to do it forever. We're a really long way away from home, and we're a really long way away from people who are getting older, and we're a really long way from them if something should ever happen, and that plays on my mind a lot.
However, many have speculated that being such a disliked celebrity has put an unbearable amount of pressure on him, which becomes especially obvious when looking at the comments regarding his retirement. James Corden is a talentless bag of garbage. Goodbye, good riddance. Finally, we don't want him anymore. Ruins everything he's involved in. Probably one of the most annoying people in the business, it seems. Please don't come back to the UK. Please don't come back to the UK. Please don't come back to the UK. With each of these comments being accompanied by flattering articles such as, farewell James Corden, you were an asshole.
Bro, my thing is, okay, last one and then we're done. I ain't gonna lie, bro. People are douchebags, bruh. Like, me included. Don't get me wrong. I'm a douchebag, but it's like, bro, folks really just actually genuinely don't like people, bro. Some of the shit he's done, bro, it seems like people making a way bigger deal out of it. I ain't gonna lie. And I can see why people dislike the dude. I ain't gonna lie, he is annoying, but like, isn't it better that he's not actually driving a car with the world's biggest pop stars? Like, isn't that safer?
About Jake Lloyd, who played Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars: The Phantom
Oh my
Menace.
God!
Jake was chosen to play Anakin from 3,000 potential candidates and would perform so well in the billion-dollar movie that he won the best performance in a feature film for an actor under the age of 10. While this might have implied that Jake had a promising film career ahead of him, he'd appear in only one more movie after Star Wars before announcing his acting retirement at the age of 12, explaining that he was bullied heavily as a result of the role. My entire school life was really a living hell, and I had to do up to 60 interviews a day. Other children were really mean to me. They would make the sound of the lightsaber every time they saw me, with this kind of harassment even continuing into Jake's high school and college experience.
You know how they can be in high school. They're so charming and intelligent. College has been similar. They wouldn't let it go.
In other interviews, Jake had been warned about the common path taken by child celebrities.
Child stars have had a bit of a reputation that they turn to, a life of drugs, so may the force be with you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yet this advice seemed to have no impact, as his life began to go downhill beginning in 2015. Jake Lloyd has schizophrenia, stopped taking his medication, and attacked his mother. Indianapolis police were called to the home of Lloyd's mother, Lisa. She said the 26-year-old showed up and yelled at her, saying she ruined his life. Lloyd allegedly knocked her down when she wouldn't let him in the house, and
here's where it's not appropriate to make a George Lucas joke. What?
3 or 4 times, causing bruises and abrasions. He was gone by the time the police showed up, and she didn't press charges. Only 3 months later, Jake Lloyd found himself in a high-speed police chase, after which he'd be arrested for reckless driving, driving without a license, and resisting arrest, resulting in 10 months jail time in a psychiatric facility. 2 years after this, Jake's 26-year-old sister Madison died unexpectedly in her sleep, prompting the mother to release a statement regarding Jake's well-being. Jake has been diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, but unfortunately he also has a symptom called anosognosia, which causes a lack of insight into his illness. This only adds to the struggle he faces, which has been very difficult after the tragic loss of his younger sister Madison. He has moved closer to his family, and we are all working hard to help.
Which causes a lack of insight into his illness. What does that mean, bro? What you mean, a lack of insight into his illness? Loss of the ability to identify objects or people. What? That's insane. Identifying the wheels, seat, and handlebars of a bicycle, and when you look at each part but can't recognize them as part of the whole bicycle. So you kind of just have to... That's crazy. I ain't gonna lie, that must suck. That actually must suck, bro.
He is still a kind and caring person, and we hope to have him back to his fun and entertaining self as soon as possible. Jake will continue to make progress with the love and support you continue to show, which is promising when compared to the life of Edward Furlong.
Jesus
After playing
Christ.
John Connor in the Terminator 2, Furlong began to mess with drugs, stating, "Hollywood F me up, man. Lots of money and lots of free coke will turn anybody into a cokehead."
I mean,
with this
yeah,
addiction resulting in his
true.
first arrest for driving under the influence without a license. Furlong attended rehab as a result of the incident.
God
and was able
dang,
to
this
stay
nigga look
sober for a
crazy.
number of years. However, by 2009, at the age of 32, he was back in the news for punching his girlfriend whilst on drugs. 3 years later, Furlong was arrested again, this time
Yo, this man's forehead is insane.
On drugs. 3 years later, Furlong was arrested again, this time for domestic abuse against his new girlfriend, resulting in a further 6 months in prison, where he'd pick up a meth addiction, although this story actually has somewhat of a happy ending. In July 2022, Furlong announced that he had gotten his teeth fixed, was taking better care of himself, and had been sober for over 4 years.
Hey.
I'm much happier now. I mean, it feels so good to at least be doing the best you can.
Although this kind of
that's 100% facts.
Unavailable to Drake Bell, whose life has only gotten worse every single year
I heard
since he
about
started
him.
Drake and Josh. In 2014, approximately 7 years after the show came to an end, Drake Bell announced that he was filing for bankruptcy,
I ain't gonna lie, that
causing
kinda
a
hurt.
foreclosure on his $2 million mansion. 1 year later, in 2015, he'd be jailed for 4 days as a result of driving under the influence. However, the real drama didn't begin until mid-2020, when his ex-girlfriend would upload a video on TikTok, making some pretty severe accusations.
Imagine the worst type of verbal abuse you could ever imagine, and that was what I got. It then turned into physical, hitting, throwing, everything.
Damn.
At the pinnacle of it, he dragged me down the stairs of our house in Los Feliz. My face hit every step on the way down.
Drake Bell would defend himself by stating, "I never abused my ex-girlfriend or did so many of the other things
do you have
Melissa
proof,
falsely
shorty?
claimed on her TikTok video. Unfortunately, we both called each other terrible names, as often happens when couples are breaking up, but that is it." Although this response most certainly didn't put
because every step is crazy,
as there was even bigger trouble just around the corner. An article titled "Drake Bell's alleged victim accuses him of grooming" explained that he was embroiled in a legal battle for engaging in a relationship with a 15-year-old girl back in 2017. Things became even worse when footage of the trial was uploaded to YouTube.
How do you plead to count 2, disseminating matter harmful to juveniles, first-degree misdemeanor?
Guilty.
Let the record reflect defendant has pled guilty. The court accepts that plea.
And while he would plead guilty to child endangerment, Drake Bell would then take to his Instagram to insinuate that he hadn't done anything wrong.
Don't believe the media. If these claims were remotely true, my situation would be very different. I would not be here at home with my wife and my son.
Despite finishing by stating that he was at home with his wife, this relationship would last only one more year, as in January 2023, on top of everything that had already happened, Drake Bell announced that he was also getting a divorce.
Damn.
Considering he's acted in only 2 productions since 2020, it's safe to say that Drake Bell's reputation is pretty much finished, although he's not the only Nickelodeon actor with a spot in this video, as the life of Amanda Bynes has descended into an even worse version of hell. Despite having one of the most famous faces throughout the 2000s, Amanda Bynes would announce her retirement from acting in 2010, stating that being an actress isn't as fun as it may seem. "If I don't love something anymore, I stop doing it. I don't love acting anymore, so I've stopped doing it. I know 24 is a young age to retire, but you heard it here first." She'd go on to state that the retirement
not
was
if you've been
because I
acting
literally
since
couldn't
you was
stand
a
my appearance
jit.
in Easy A and I didn't like my performance. I was absolutely convinced that I needed to stop acting after seeing it. However, this is where things began to go downhill rapidly. In 2012, 2 years after retiring, she was charged with driving under the influence and hit and run on 2 separate occasions.
Why do
2 years after
actors...
this, she'd be charged with driving under the influence again, with her court appearance displaying a significant physical decline from just 2 years prior. In the process, Amanda would take to Twitter to call Michelle and Barack Obama ugly, before stating that she and her parents were no longer speaking, which accompanied some absolutely wild accusations about her father, including the statement that he had put a microchip in her brain. After she'd also set fire to a driveway, Amanda was put in a mental hospital, after which her parents were given legal ownership over her $5 million estate, as Amanda has been spending large amounts of her savings. It has been reported that she's recently made extensive purchases as gifts from jewelry stores such as Cartier for strangers. Amanda Bynes was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and would attempt to get her life back on track by enrolling in fashion school. However, she was kicked out only 10 months later for showing up high and arguing with her classmates. In 2018, people assumed that she was back to her normal self, as Amanda showed up in magazines looking like this. However, within a year, she'd gotten face tattoos and checked into Alcoholics Anonymous, where she'd meet her new boyfriend who, according to Amanda, had just as many problems as her. In October 2022, she'd make another attempt at fixing her life by enrolling in cosmetic school, yet only 5 months later in March 2023, she was sent to a mental hospital once again, as she was found roaming the streets of Los Angeles without any clothes on. Then there was Orlando Brown, whose role as Eddie Thomas on That's So Raven.
I ain't gonna lie, I heard Orlando Brown went crazy, bro, but I don't know the actual details.
Orlando began to focus on music, during which his life was kept fairly private, until he'd enter news headlines approximately 9 years later. Between February and March 2006...
Hold on, Orlando Brown made music, bro?
Condis, Jay-Z tried to kill me. Cut my name whole weight, big pop on the street. Bank rolls full and I can helicopter police. Power up your colon in the back of Papa Caprice. I'm a hog in the beach, when it's time to vlog, I release like a walking dog on a leash. A frog on a log at the beach. Pause when I jog to the east, picking up fog from Cheech. Blowing smoke with the priest, I sleep for all with the least. My nigga, you know that I'm awesome still. These other rappers pop pills like a moxicil. While I'm eating chicken fettuccine pasta meals, cause everything I do...
What? Hold on. I'm eating chicken fettuccine pasta meals.
Power up your colon in the back of Papa Caprice. I'm a hog in the beach, when it's time to vlog, I release like a walking dog on a leash. A frog on a log at the beach. Pause when I jog to the east, picking up fog from Cheech. Blowing smoke with the priest, I sleep for all with the least. My nigga, you know that I'm awesome pop pills like a moxicil. While I'm eating chicken fettuccine pasta meals. Cause everything I do huge like a roster kill. Ew. Trey, I own Hotel Rwanda. And Sean Diddy Combs is my auntie Yolanda.
I ain't gonna lie, this is hard. So what happened though? But what happened?
Brown was arrested on 2 separate occasions on charges of domestic violence, obstruction of justice, drug possession with the intent to sell, and possession of contraband in jail. In February 2016, cops claimed he struck his then girlfriend in the parking lot of a police station and was found by officers to be in possession of methamphetamine. Orlando was given a notice to appear in court, yet he'd instead flee to Las Vegas, where he was caught by bounty hunters.
You left California. It's a felony when you flee. What are you doing here then, brother? You got a warrant for your arrest.
After which things only became worse. A video was released of Orlando being kicked out of a friend's house after lasting only a week in rehab, which was followed by his appearance on the Dr. Phil show, during which he'd state that he'd been sober for 4 years, despite clearly being under the influence on the show.
I'm 4 years sober for a reason. I just now got out of rehab. I just now got out of ER. I'm not doing no more time away from my kids other than I need to.
As a result of this episode, Orlando would return to rehab and get clean before discussing his experience on the No Jumper podcast.
I had a 2-year binge of something that I should have never, ever indulged in.
Meth?
Yes, those situations, man, they will never happen again based off of the fact that where I'm trying to go.
And while he'd end his statement by stating that those situations will never happen again, Orlando was back in the news approximately 7 months later in December 2022 after threatening a family member with a hammer. He's currently undertaking a psychiatric assessment to see if he's eligible for pleading insanity. Yet the most tragic story of child fame without a doubt comes from Judy Garland, who played Dorothy Gale in The Wizard of Oz
is that
at the
her?
age of 16. Whilst filming the movie, she was prescribed amphetamines to keep up with the production's grueling schedule, as well as barbiturates to help her sleep when the day was finally over. The studio also required Judy to stay incredibly thin, feeding her nothing but soup and lettuce leaves whilst on set, which she'd explained led to a poor self-image. By the time The Wizard of Oz was finished, she was being prescribed amphetamines from 4 different doctors to keep her weight down and her mood up, although this lifestyle began to catch up to her.
Drugs, getting up late, coming in late to work, and it turned into a nightmare for everybody concerned.
She'd be fired from 3 different movies for intoxication and was constantly in the news for being completely broke. Her kids stated that the family couldn't even afford food at times, which accompanied angry slurred messages about being paid for work.
I want my money. I want it right now.
These weren't delusions. She was broke when she recorded this, and not movie star down to my last Rolls Royce broke, homeless broke. No money to buy food broke.
By the time Judy Garland was in her 40s, she looked about 15 years older, had been divorced 5 different times, and was performing in a New York bar for $100 per night. While Judy Garland maintained that she had never done anything wrong in her entire life,
the only mistake I ever did, the only harm I ever did was sing Over the Rainbow.
She would die of an overdose at the age of 47 on the exact same drug that she was prescribed during The Wizard of Oz, with her estate being worth a measly $40,000.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, that's so messed up, bro. They literally chew these kid actors and spit them right out, bro. Nickelodeon does with the actors, but seeing other people's drama, bro, it's entertaining. Like, what do you want? Like, come on, bro, I'm keeping it real with y'all. It's entertaining to see these people care about these issues, because it's like, these are the issues we're caring about. Like, I mean, okay, I guess it's not like we gotta have a food shortage going on or anything, or like, you know, it's not like factories have been blowing up. Still don't know what them alien things were, but hey, you feel me? Guns are still shooting up schools, but you feel me? Mr. Beast and Chris. Hey man, nah, the world is an entertaining place. I ain't gonna lie, the world is very entertaining. Enough of me. No, seriously, enough of me. I'ma leave y'all be. It's been your boy Loui. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. You feel me? Gang, gang, gang. Oh my God.
It's the end. Leave a like and share it to your friends and your kin. When I post a video, I'm gonna need y'all to attend. Thank you for the view, but I ain't done with you. 2023, I'm about to be Jordan with the flu. Yeah, join the tribe. Yeah, join the tribe. I'm gonna need y'all to subscribe.